You're so blue. Hello.
Hello.
Ruby. Hi. Bailey.
They do send a notification 30 minutes before. I got one and I was driving.
Lizzie's ready though. Hello. Welcome to the Magic Treehouse December live show. When did we start this? Like, was it July?
June or July? I think it was July.
Has it already been half a year of Magic Treehouse madness? That's a lot. Anyway, I'm Martine. This is my channel. This is Kayla. I had to look at where the blanket was. Like, there's Kayla right there.
I know. I'm in the blanket.
Kayla Ray reads. And we've been reading the Magic Treehouse. Largely, I'm assuming only people who've been reading Magic Treehouse along with us are here. Danielle's here. Bailey's here. We have proof that we get notifications. And Bailey, you might want to change your notification settings.
Mm-hmm.
That might help. Ruby's here with the facts. We started in July.
Started.
We started. And this month we read Tonight on the Titanic and Buffaloes Before Breakfast. I think those are number 17 and 18 of the Magic Treehouse original series. And then for our nonfiction book, we read A Night to Remember by Walter Lord, also known as A Walk to Remember, according to Ruby. She kept thinking it was called A Walk to Remember. So for Ruby's sake, we read A Walk to Remember.
By Sarah Dessen.
By Sarah Dessen. And that's a book about the Titanic sinking, which we all know is Sarah Dessen's prime genre.
Period.
Yeah, so by Nicholas Sparks.
That's correct. I think my brain blanked.
And the movie is painful to Ruby apparently, but I've never seen it. So there we go. Do we want to start nonfiction or do we want to start Magic Treehouse? What are we feeling?
My first instinct was nonfiction.
All right, let's start nonfiction. And then we can amp up into the Magic Treehouse. I lost the words for a second. So nonfiction, it's been a while since I've read this now, but I gave it, I believe, was it 3.5? I need to look this up. What did you give it?
So I gave the Titanic one 4 stars, and my Goodreads review was slapped so hard.
Great review. Great review. If Goodreads would ever load, then we would know that I rated it 3.5, and my review says I learned so much.
We are like the best book reviewers on YouTube, on Goodreads. Like, if you don't follow us there, like,
there should be a million people watching this for our reviews alone. Bailey gave it a 3.5. This is for A Night to Remember, Danielle. A Night to Remember. I gave 3.
Wow, I'm dumb. Because my brain went to the Titanic book.
Oh no.
And Bailey said that we're discussing the nonfiction. So, and that's because my review for the Titanic one is slapped so hard.
Gotcha.
Wow.
But for the nonfiction book,
I could say slapped kind of hard.
Okay. And did you also give that a 4-star? Or
I actually did not rate it. Okay. Not because it was good or bad. I just have a problem with rating nonfiction sometimes.
I don't. I'll be like, the writing of this, I'm looking at the writing. I'm judging the writing. Even memoirs. I'm like, poorly written, low rating. I'm brutal.
Okay, sometimes I do rate memoirs, and I don't know why, but I just do it. But usually I don't.
Yeah. Okay. Ruby gave it a 3 stars. Solid. Danielle typically doesn't rate nonfiction with a memoir, but this was 5 stars. And as Ruby pointed out, it's not a memoir. The photos of Danielle crying, I felt bad for you, Danielle.
Did I miss these photos?
Yes. There are photos of her weeping.
Okay.
absolutely weeping.
After this, I'm gonna look for him.
Lizzie gave it 3 stars. She didn't have an emotional reaction to it, but that may have been my personal reading context of driving through Ohio in the snow. Fair. For Bailey, Mr. Man narrator caught her off guard, but it improved. Yes, weeping. There were photos? Oh, the crying photos. Yes. I was like, there were photos of the Titanic? No. This book was Danielle's personal iceberg. So I thought in some ways it was kind of dry, like it was just a reporting of events, you know, but on the other hand, they were interesting events.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not sure, I would hesitate to say that there's a boring way to talk about what happened on the Titanic. Like, I don't want to challenge anybody out there to write a boring Titanic book, but I don't think it's possible. I also did not have an emotional reaction to it. Like Lizzie said,
Mm-hmm.
I was not driving through Ohio in the snow, but I just think I'm kind of desensitized to mass tragedies in general. But then specifically, this one happened so long ago that my brain doesn't realize it ever actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes with historical events, I'm like, that's not real. Does that make sense? Is that just a me?
I'm like trying to think. I agree with you because I was thinking about some like really bad, like the school things that happen in this country, and my brain like couldn't wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
And then also, I love is not the correct word. I think it is silly question mark when you hear like a song and they make a joke about like the Boston bomber or something, and I'm like, that shouldn't be a joke.
Yeah.
Also, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. And with this it's weird because like it was a bunch of largely rich people being like a little silly goofy about it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to discount the tragedy at all. It was obviously horrible. But I think that was where it like slightly detached for me. Bailey did not know much about the Titanic. Neither did I. I knew she hit an iceberg. She went down. I think some of my favorite facts that I learned were that it was like one of the first times they ever used SOS as a signal.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, dang, that's cool. I also was horrified to find out how close by another ship was. And just because they didn't have somebody on the radio 24 hours a day, they just sat there. And I was sitting there in the part where they like had launched the rockets. And they were like, I wonder why they're launching rockets. And I was like, isn't the whole point of the rockets a distress signal?
Literally.
And it's not like it is nowadays where like ships are putting off firework displays or something. It's like this was the only reason in my mind that they set off something like that. And they were just watching it and they were like,
wow, that's so beautiful.
Why are they doing that? Which was really weird. I agree this seems fake to me, even though I know it's real. They were so relaxed about it. They were so relaxed.
And I feel like they were relaxed because of how much prep leading up to them leaving that every single person was told, this is the unsinkable ship.
Yeah, it's not joked necessarily because obviously that's horrible, but I told Michaela like I just found it interesting that there was that quote going around that was like only God could sink this ship, and then the iceberg was like
I shouldn't laugh, but yes.
But it was like the perfect storm. There was that bit at the end where they listed like all of the things that had to go wrong to lead to the tragedy that it was. Like if this hadn't happened, if this hadn't happened, if this hadn't happened, if this hadn't happened, then like all of these people would have lived. But humans make such terrible decisions. Why would you not include enough lifeboats? I mean, I guess that's natural for us now because we've grown up post-Titanic, right? So like that's the world we've lived in. Sorry, my brain is big Titanic energy right now. She's thinking about it. Sorry.
I'm obsessed.
I was genuinely shocked by the fact the lifeboats were so empty when they loaded them, and that so many refused to go back to look for survivors. Yeah, they were really like women and children only, and then they dropped down with empty spaces.
I feel like at that, like, I understand why we're doing women and children, but like that's like the whole thing right here. Like, it's like it doesn't make like just put people there.
Yeah.
Like, if you just are, if there's no women and children standing right here by this half empty lifeboat, just get into it.
Like, already enough people would have died in this tragedy if all of the spaces on the lifeboats had been taken, but they weren't. So it was just crazy. The fact that the one ship was like, wow, look at those lights go dark. What a sleepy ship. Wasn't the captain just snoozing? R.I.P. Everyone was in denial. To just be like, wow, nice lights when you're also in an ice area. Like, duh. Sorry, I'm just catching up on the comments.
No, I love it. I didn't read
Wasn't some dude just found in the ocean after falling off a ship after like over a day? Was that the guy who had alcohol and that like saved him? Like the water didn't give him hypothermia because he had too much alcohol. Media reporting everything was fine, and then the newspaper is just getting more and more tragic. When they were being like, this one person died on the front. Yeah. The one lady that changed which lifeboat she was on because she was so mad. True. Just charge each person 50 cents more. It's not that they didn't have money for the lifeboats. It's that they had a hubris that extended past the point of lifeboats. The women need their men to do anything legally and for money, so send them on the lifeboat and kill their men. That's their livelihood. That's a good point.
But this could also go to like during the wars when all the men would go to war and the women were like, what do we do now? And then they started working.
Yeah. I was on a bus that broke down one time, and another bus came that had seats for about half of us, and the bus driver was like, women and children first in the year of our Lord 2019. This book actually led to some fighting between me and Emmett because he said he would make me get on a lifeboat, and I said I would refuse without him. That's interesting. I would get in the lifeboat.
I would only get in the life. So this is what I tell my mom, and she thinks I'm joking, but I'm not. If anything happens to my family unit, we are all staying or we are all going.
Mm-hmm.
If one of us goes, we're following. So like,
I think the only, like, I would hesitate, sure, but I would go on the lifeboat. I think the only thing that would really stop me is if it was like Michaela and I being separated. But I would like to point out that as a Slytherin, I have a very strong self-preservation instinct. So if there's a way I'm gonna survive, my brain is not thinking like you will miss these people or anything. It's thinking like live.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm a terrible person for that, but I would go for the lifeboat.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a news article that said the Titanic was getting towed by another boat? I don't know. Was there the band thing? I think was in the movie, so I was shocked if something actually happened. There's a whole book about the musicians in the Titanic. A whole book. I think we almost read it for this, but then we chose this one. As a mother, I would leave Chris to save Mabel. Why are you sorry about that? Bye, Chris.
Yeah, see you later.
We agreed the only way I'll agree to get on the lifeboat is if we have sharp. I don't know how you say it. I'm sorry. Don't listen to this or a child. Otherwise, it's my choice. I would let Chris and Mabel go if that was an option. It's not. Chris has to stay.
Bailey's like, I will not survive.
Emmett and I both already hope I die first. I'm moving swiftly along.
Yep. Can I have that book?
Yeah, I'll tell you the title. Let me look at it right now. I just saved it in Libby today. For no particular reason. Oop. It's called The Band That Played On by Steve Turner. Here you go. I'm not the survivor. Oh dear, this has been dark. Well, it looks like I'm the only one surviving here. That's what we've learned. Okay, question. This is shifting us into, I think, the Magic Treehouse books. But if they hadn't had the Magic Treehouse to get away, do you think Jack and Annie, separately or together, would they have saved themselves, or would they have stayed on the boat? Please discuss. Because I mean, they did. Spoiler: they did save those other kids.
Mm-hmm.
But they were like, "We're good. We got this Magic Treehouse."
I have a feeling that they would probably try to save as many other people first, and then have gotten on like the last lifeboat.
Mm-hmm. Like one of those inflatable ones that they took forever
Mm-hmm.
to do. I can see that. I can see Jack being like, and this is no hate to Jack because I have very Jack energy. I can see him being like, Annie, we need to get on the boat. And then her being like, we need to save the others. You know, I feel like that's. Jack could have convinced Annie to get in a boat. They had Teddy, so they had to be safe. That's so true. I need to know who read Magic Treehouse versus nonfiction first, because reading Magic Treehouse after the background knowledge, I believe, enhanced my experience. I read the nonfiction first, then I read the Magic Treehouse, and I agree. That's why I read it in that order.
Mm.
Ruby read nonfiction first and then Magic Treehouse, and she was like, OMG, no. What about you, Kayla?
So sorry, read the Magic Treehouse first and then the nonfiction. And I think that it didn't change the way that I think I would have liked it had I flip-flopped that. And I think that's just because I have a good amount of Titanic background knowledge that I was like, I kind of already know what I'm getting into here. And
Yeah.
also, the Titanic Magic Treehouse was the one I was the most excited for. So
You were
I
like,
was
here I go.
yeah, I was like, "Let me get into it."
That's fair. That's fair. It definitely added the tension that Mary Pope Osborne wasn't giving. This is an opinion. Lizzie also read the nonfiction and then Magic Treehouse, and it made me like it less.
Wow, no one did what I did. That's sad.
Yeah. What did we all rate tonight on the Titanic?
4 stars.
I knew what you rated it.
Slap so hard.
I rated it 4 stars. Don't send the children to save 2 kids when 1,000 died. Yep, that's fair. What is this in regards to? Lizzie gave it a 2!
Dang.
Lizzie, tell us why. Bailey, these were Bailey's 2 favorite Magic Treehouse books so far, both 4 stars. That makes me sad that your used copy of Buffaloes Before Breakfast is gross then. Very sad. Danielle gave it 5 stars, but was probably still just emotional. Lizzie goes straight to jail. And so does Ruby.
Oh, right to jail.
Oh, yes, we won't invalidate your opinion, but you are going to jail, so.
We don't make the rules here.
You know, I enjoyed it. Did it have everything the nonfiction had? No. But for introducing the Titanic to children, I think it included plenty. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Bailey, speak for yourself. honestly, I don't know why I felt like it was in poor taste somehow. That's totally fair. Um, did you feel that way about the Pompeii one, or like any of the other tragedies they've witnessed, or just this one? Sorry.
No, because you specifically said the Pompeii one. I was thinking of that video Lizzie sent us last night.
Yeah. Boat sinky.
Both.
Lizzie's like, this book was in poor taste, and Bailey is like, boat sinky. What impressed me was the conversation after they got back. I actually wrote in my notes about that conversation. Let me pull up my notes. Okay. Well, first, in regards to the general Magic Treehouse lore, I said, since when have they started having new clothes on when they get there instead of staying in dripping wet swimsuits while in the Arctic?
Oh. I feel like I did notice that, but I noticed it in buffaloes, I think.
Yeah. And then to refute Lizzie's point about time traveling versus book traveling, they said, and I quote, we can't change history, as in like we shouldn't change history, which leads me to believe that they are in fact time traveling. Then I said, Jack crying, no, my sweet baby. The absolute trauma these kids keep witnessing. It really threw me when Jack cried, I won't lie to you. It threw me. That's all I have to say about that.
I feel like if kids that are reading this as they're coming out or are like picking it up from the library, reading them in order, I feel like maybe if they're normal kids and not like crazy kids like we probably were, but like they're taking some time between a couple chunks of them that I feel like they're growing with the book. And so they're growing with the characters. So if you're thinking of like a 7 or 8-year-old reading this and them seeing like this 7 or 8-year-old cry after being like
8-year-old boy cry.
yes. So I think that like for the kids, that scene I think is like, oh, this boy is like can be emotional and it's okay.
Yeah. No, when I say it threw me, I mean like it hurt. I was like, owie.
That's your widow baby.
Yeah. Ruby thinks the plot was weak.
Oh.
But in retrospect, Lizzie likes it more. I have to think that this is what changed her mind. We got definitive answers. They said in this one specifically, no matter what we do, we can't bring them back in our time. They're going back in time. Just this one, but I think it was because I just read the nonfiction and was emotional about it. Gotcha. Pompeii feels very long ago. Fair.
I mean, it was what 749 AD.
Yeah, that
a long time ago.
Pompeii is so far away. That one was fine. That job was fine, but sorry, I'm stuck. I think Morgan said something about it once and was like, "Let me change your outfits." Could be wrong. Yeah, she said that once, but now every time it happens, and that confuses me. Or it means they literally can't change it because they're in the book. No, Lizzie. No. They said it as in like, didn't they say something about like, oh, the Titanic's going to sink? Like, we should tell them or something. And they were like, we can't change history. Like, yeah. I don't know. So true. They really just go home and act normal. The broken submarine was trauma. Yes, Danielle would agree with you.
Let's not forget.
Did you just pull that date out of your ass? This is why history is my worst trivia. It is. Mine is sports. Also, I would like to bring up right now in front of the panel that Chris let our game expire on Trivia Crack.
Hold on. I don't want to show you like notifications I don't want y'all to see, but like that says Chris, I'm going to fight him in this game.
What did it say? Chris, what?
He didn't answer the question correctly, but I'm like kicking his ass.
Well, he let my game expire.
Well, then call him out on it. Chris,
I
get
just
in here.
did.
Well, I don't know how to use my brain, Martine.
This is interesting though because I'm thinking about it. I specifically didn't like Pompeii because I was like, why send the children to a tragedy? But I thought this one handled it much better. Do you think they handled it better because they actually addressed the trauma afterwards? Like they processed some of it, or uh, just because they went in knowing it was like a tragedy instead of Pompeii when Morgan was like, go get this book, and then they were like, what's happening? There's a volcano exploding. This they went in and they were like, the Titanic sinks. We know that.
I like when Jack wrote in his like, didn't he write in his notebook like the exact time? And he was like, we have 4 hours.
Yeah, it was like, was it like 2:20 a.m. or something?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we should read a Pompeii nonfic first so we were emotionally invested. That I honestly think that would be so dry.
No, no matter what, it would have been dry.
I think having the conversations, like even how the memories of the victims live on, which was a bit cheesy, but I think for helping kids understand it was great. I was thinking, what if A Night to Remember was the book they used? That would have been crazy, but it was not. It's not the book they used. All right. Do we want to talk about buffaloes?
Yeah.
I also gave it 4 stars.
Ewy. 3 stars.
Was Ewy your review?
No, I don't know if I put a review. Let me go look. I think I just rated it 3 stars and kept moving. Oh.
Bailey said, I thought this was going to be dry, but it wasn't. And Danielle said, you're right, Bailey. It was wet. Lizzie liked Buffalo, 4 stars, 4 stars, 4 stars.
3 stars.
Danielle, what did you give it?
Waiting for Danielle in the chat.
While we wait, she gave it a 4. Way worse terms and words just from an older book. Totally fair. I did think it was weird that the book was like Native Americans, Native Americans, Native Americans, and Jack was like the Indians, and I was like, Jacqueline. And there really is no buffalo now. Yeah, but your copy was sticky, so I hate that. Okay, so my notes said, I swear I know Teddy, but I feel like I don't recognize any of these 4 books from my childhood, ? Now, I later checked with my sister, and she says that she read the one that we'll read next. And I don't know, but now I'm like, did I read the Buffalo one? I really can't remember. So I don't know, but for some reason, when Teddy first appeared, I was like, oh yeah, Teddy. And I don't know why. Don't know why. Because I looked at all these covers and I was like, I don't know if I ever read this.
I'm gonna be honest. I think when we started this, my brain was really only focused on remembering the Titanic one, that I didn't understand why in the beginning there wasn't a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the one that I specifically remembered reading.
Fair. Teddy was giving me Ernie.
Period.
But Ernie only has 3 legs. So.
Yeah.
I have no idea who Teddy is. Giving me those uncomfortable Peter Pettigrew vibes. Where I'm like, please tell me this isn't.
No, why did I think the same thing? Danielle must have put it in a chat somewhere because I was reading it and I literally was like, wow, this is going to be a man.
Bye.
Bye.
Family friend left. Okay. Is Teddy Morgan, or was the White Buffalo Woman Morgan, or just all magical deities are friends? Don't know. We'll find out after the next 2 books. I think Teddy is Merlin. Ooh, interesting. I genuinely forget who Teddy is. Anyway, I said, I love how Jack and Annie are learning to approach other cultures. They're realizing different things are polite to different people, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm not sure they always address that in the earlier books, but at this point in the series, again, as the children are growing up with them, reading them, I'm like, wow, like they took a second and Jack was like, wait, we need to read and see what's going to be good manners to them. And then Annie did something that wasn't good manners and Jack was like, that's not good manners to them. And you could tell that the Lakota tribe really like appreciated that from them.
Mhm.
I approved. Like, listen, she was talking about Teddy's legs. Teddy has 4 legs. Ernie only has 3. I knew where you were, Kayla, but I didn't put it in the chat. We just share one singular brain cell.
Danielle and I just throw it back and forth.
In this verse, Merlin is evil, right? But Morgan is kind of evil. I don't know. It's yet to be determined. I mean, Morgan Le Fay is sending them into all these traumatic events. But we don't know for sure whether she's like good or evil yet. I'm not sure if we ever figure that out, actually. So yeah. And what other thoughts do we have about the buffalo? Anyone?
I liked it, and I like everything that everybody's saying about it, but I feel like the reason why I give it 3 stars and not 4 was I feel like there was just something like I felt like they didn't really do anything other than talk to the Native Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they did have, like, that horseback riding scene. They, like, went on the horses. I remember the art, that's why. But, like, I feel like really, like, nothing, like, happened.
I don't need a plot to like a book, so I was cruising. Is someone evil? I don't know why, but I also kind of want Teddy to be Theodore Frozen.
He's not.
Am I the villain?
Yes.
Buffalo are my least favorite animal. Why? I wish someone else had done the canonical reading of the King Arthur stuff because I want to know, but I don't want to read it. After we read Magic Treehouse Ruby, I'll make myself read it and then I'll tell you. By not knowing, not because anyone beside me cares about this. No, I do care. I love the facts about the Lakota tribe in the back. I thought it was great she managed to give us a wide variety of cultural background without overwhelming kids. I agree. I don't need a lot of plot in a book that takes me 15 minutes to read.
Okay, true, but...
And I at least thought this plot was more interesting than the Knight's book, because in the Knight's book, they, like, wandered in the castle and then they, like, wandered out, right? But this, they at least interacted with people.
Yeah.
So, not Lizzie the Buffalo Slayer. Thank you, everyone, for dropping their least favorite animal in the chat. Because they caused a traffic jam when they decided to cross the road randomly, and I was in the car for like 6 hours. That's a valid reason to dislike them, I guess. Don't tell Pumpkin. Yeah, no, I was impressed for the time that it was written, how well I thought Mary Pope Osborne handled that, especially because there have been some questionable, in my opinion, cultural moments in previous books in the series.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, good job, Mary. Anything else? Icebergs are my least favorite animal.
I don't think I have one. Maybe like a bug. Does a bug count as an animal?
That's kind of up for debate, but yes.
Okay, bugs. Thank you.
Just all of them?
Most of them. A ladybug hit me in the head today.
Ladybugs were nice.
Yeah.
Do you like roly-polies?
I like roly-poly-oly.
That's not the same thing.
Then no.
But I did love that show as a kid. Heard here first, a bug is not an animal.
Okay, Ruby is the nature one out of all of us, so okay. The jury's still out. I don't know what my least favorite animal is then.
What's a bug-like animal? Because I feel like that would be...
I like snakes, but they're scary. So I don't know if that would make them my least favorite. Like, the idea of, like, a snake, like a chill snake, cool. The idea of any other snake, No.
Any poisonous animal really freaks me out. Yeah, I really don't like jellyfish.
Oh, yeah.
And I have this is not Magic Treehouse related, but I'm gonna share it anyway. One time I was at the beach, I was quite young, I think 6 or 7, and, there was a jellyfish, like, sitting in the sand, and I was like, "Oh, no, like, I don't wanna touch that," and so I started running away, I was scared, and I heard this flopping sound behind me, and I thought it was chasing me, but it turns out I was wearing jean shorts and they were wet.
You really were like, "I'm about to die from this jellyfish."
I thought this jellyfish was straight up chasing me on land, and it was wet jean shorts. So, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so since another project I was working on got put on hold, how does aiming for Magic Treehouse D&D sound? Incredible. I love
Incredible, but
it.
I'm scared.
Why are you scared? They've
'Cause
already seen the Titanic sink, they've seen Pompeii.
That's true.
There's nothing to be scared of now. Let me make a Google form. Okay. Probably a duck. I have bad history with waterfowl. Geese are scary. Lizzie continually telling us I want Magic Treehouse D&D so badly. This looks like it says Mountain D&D.
Yep.
Dungeons and Dragons, Bailey. Dungeons and Dragons.
Nerd stuff.
You know how I got those dice from my Secret Santa? Those. Roll for persuasion.
Can I get a character check?
I don't know what this is in reference to, but
Your mountain? The mountain from it?
I don't know. What does that have to do with Magic Tree? Okay, Bailey, let me explain something.
This was probably the one that Bailey missed.
So, Magic Treehouse Dungeons and Dragons. The thing about Dungeons and Dragons is you can have lots of different types of campaigns, right? And it can exist in lots of different worlds. And you create and insert your own characters and you can revolve them around different plots. So for instance, there's a podcast called Dungeons and Daddies, which is a D&D podcast about, is it 4 fathers who lose their children in this place called the Forgotten Realm. Okay, so you make up a world, you go play in the world. There are some established worlds, but you can also just freeball it. And so in this case, we would do that, like make up our own D&D story, but with Magic Treehouse. We love you. So yes, Danielle, please make the Google form because that would be hysterical. I can't imagine this group playing D&D. I think it would be an absolute riot and disaster in a good way. Danielle is chaotic. I don't know if it's chaotic good, bad, or neutral. I just know it's chaotic. So, anything else?
What's next month?
Well, I want to play it live. Interesting. We'll talk about that. Next month, do you have it pulled up?
No.
Okay, I have it pulled up right here. We are reading 4 Magic Treehouse books: Tigers at Twilight, Dingoes at Dinner Time, Civil War on Sunday, and Revolutionary War on Wednesday. This feels like a lot of war.
2 wars?
2 wars. Which, to be fair, the month after that is strictly natural disasters. We have a tornado and an earthquake in February. So, 2 wars and then 2 natural disasters. So, Tigers at Twilight, Dingoes at Dinner Time, Civil War on Sunday, Revolutionary War on Wednesday. And we have not decided our next nonfiction book.
Mm-hmm.
So, what were you going to say?
But we will.
Yeah, but we will. I appreciate that I prefer the term true chaos, not the Revolutionary War. There are worse wars.
Literally.
Worse wars. For instance, the Civil War. I think out of the two of them, the Civil War is worse. They really go 2 wars in a row. Excited for tornadoes. Iowa speaking out.
There was a tornado warning here yesterday, and they were like, "We're not going to see it if it happens because it's in the middle of a thunderstorm."
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
Well, if the tornadoes, we should just read Wizard of Oz. That's not nonfiction, Bailey.
I thought it was.
No.
That's not a true story?
No.
But Judy Garland was there.
But Judy Garland was yeah, but like the Revolutionary War is boring. What's your take on Hamilton? Now I'm very curious.
Oh, Danielle, you're getting into some territory here. Did you not watch Liberty's Kids?
Liberty Kids, yes!
We watched it in the 5th grade. We watched it like every day.
I literally have DVDs of it upstairs.
I'm coming over. Martine,
The
I'll be there in a minute.
French boy, Henri, loved him. Loved him. The brain cell back.
I'm like pulling all these references, and Danielle's like, I want them back.
Now I do
Danielle.
have a musical theater friend who hates Hamilton, and she's got strong opinions, and that's fine for her. But we will not be discussing this further. No, Bailey, we're not surprised. I'm sorry, honey, but we're not surprised. So yeah, that's been this month's Magic Treehouse live show. I'll probably talk to you all more tonight.
Literally in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah. So thanks for being here. See you later.
Bye, my friends.